what about the lemon zest?
You know what? I ran out of lemon zest, but it is in the batch that you'll be eating.
Okay.
It has no chemical reaction, it's more for flavor. So you will be tasting it, but you're not seeing it go in there, I'm sorry. Yeah, and that's just very simple. Use a rasp and get some lemon zest in there, and you would be adding it at this point. So I'm just mixing it around so that the salt and the yeast kind of travel around. And now I'm going to add my water. It's a good idea to use warm water because the yeast reacts a lot more. So 1 5/8, which is just over 1.5 cups. Water. And now the best thing to do, I promise, is to use your hands at this point. So just get in there, swish the... Is this okay? Is that helpful at all?
No.
That way?
No,
Other way.
The other way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, there we are.
Just a little bit more down. Down. Yeah, perfect. Yes, perfect.
It's not good. Okay, we'll just do this for now. So by moving your hand around in the center, it pulls the flour away from the outside, and eventually the whole sort of focus will be in the center as it pulls in the extra. You can use your whole hand if you want. I just like to have one dirty finger, and then move on from there. Okay, so once you see that it's actually sort of creating more of a paste in the center, then you can sort of pull the flour in from the outside. Some people do this right on their work surface, right on their counter, and in that case you would just make the pile of flour, press your bowl into the center so it creates a well, and then do the exact same thing. It's just messier to clean up. We don't want that necessarily. Okay, so what's happening is we're creating what we call in bread making a shaggy mass stage, in which we have really wet parts and really dry parts. So it's nothing that looks like it's going to be anything fabulous anytime soon, but to be perfectly honest, we're almost there. So normally, if anybody's made bread before, you take this, you dump it out on your work surface, and then you start kneading it. It becomes very sort of elastic and very tight and very smooth. So you don't have any floury bits, you don't have any wet bits, it's just a really nice, even, smooth dough. And then you let it rise, and then you shape it, and then so on and so on. But what's nice about this is I've just had dinner, I'm really full, I don't even feel like bread, I don't know why I'm making this, hopefully I'll be hungry again by tomorrow. You know, so you think you can dance is on, I don't want to be doing this. And so, done it, it's done, you wrap your plastic over it, it sits in the corner, and then you wait for 12 to 18 hours. So it's not ready until like tomorrow by noon-ish. And if you know, give or take a couple of hours, and then all you have to do is shape it, wait a couple hours, and it's ready for your dinner the next day. Or if you're selling your house, beautiful smell, so domestic. And so that is it. So at this point, if we had some plastic wrap, we would wrap it in plastic wrap, but instead we're just going to leave it over here. And so from here,
Does it say
the next day,
warm room
temperature. It's doubled in size. Okay, so I pull the plastic off, I sort of punch it down a little bit, I pull it from the outside until it is basically the same texture, but with a little more yeasty action happening. And then I'll just fold it until it's almost kind of football-y in shape. And then I'll put it on you can put it back in here if you want to, but I just put it on a tray to make things easy. We've had 2 classes, the timing's been a little sketchy. And then you leave it to rise for another 2 hours. During that 2 hours, you turn on your oven to 450, which is very, very hot, and you preheat your cast iron pot. So I've got my liquor in there, it's been in there for probably 20 minutes now. It is hot. So all I'm going to do, this just prevents it from sticking, although to be honest it wouldn't really stick, but it would create a strange crust. It helps to lift the dough a little higher so that you get a nice natural crust on it. I'll sprinkle a little cornmeal on the bottom. If you have some semolina flour, that works just as well too. That's the one we talked about for pasta. You can see it's smoky, you know how hot it is.
So what's the damage?
Just want it to be lifted.
What's the damage?
No, a little stuff to stop.
So Like I said, the timing's been a bit of a challenge, so I don't know how beautiful this will be, but
still in town.
yeah, just go for it anyway. It could be that it's overproofed, and that's when you wait too long and it actually deflates, and the yeast is like, I give up, I was ready, but it's over. So we'll just put it in there.
You don't have to pay for the coffee.
And so the first thing, for the first 30 minutes, we actually keep the lid on the pot. Now, just to get into some science in bread making, it's not that scientific. What makes a really great crusty bread is steam in the oven. And it seems so like contradictive because a crust is very dry and you wouldn't think so. I don't really know how it works. But how this works is that the dough is a little bit wetter than a real bread dough. And so by putting the lid on it, it kind of steams a little bit extra. So we'll pull it out and it will look like sort of a dim sum dumpling, you know, something a little wet and not that crusty. But then for the last 15 to 30 minutes, so leave it in there for 30 minutes, pull it out, take the lid off, put it back in for 15 or 30 minutes. You get a really nice crust on it. And so that's really nice. And that's just a special recipe that they created for the New York Times for the crusade pots. Somebody put it together. I don't know. Very brilliant. I don't know that I would have thought of it myself, but very smart. Now, the